Kartikeya, Rishabh. You know, doing this session is extremely special for an industry which is going places. For those of you who've not tracked the Indian hospitality industry, I would urge everybody to look at it as a serious career, because this is where you look at places which you can never imagine and meet people you can never imagine. And Indian hospitality has yet to start in true earnest, and the beginnings have already been shown by the man who's sitting to my right, Puneet Chhatwal. He's India's biggest hospitality export, and he's come back. And come back how? Puneet, thank you for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, good morning. When I started writing the script, it was evening. Few leaders in global hospitality have managed to honor the legacy while simultaneously re-engineering the future of the company and the economy. When Puneet Chhatwal took charge of the Indian Hotels Company, a Tata enterprise, in 2017, the organization already possessed a power brand, Taj Hotels. But what we have witnessed since then has been nothing short of strategic renaissance. I call it strategic renaissance from where it's in under 9 years. I think Puneet joined in the November of 2017, Puneet. IHCL has strengthened its balance sheet, sharpened its brand architecture, embraced an asset-light growth strategy, and built one of the most dynamic pipelines in the industry, which he shall speak about. From heritage and luxury of Taj to the reinvention of Ginger Hotels, IHCL today represents the full spectrum of Indian hospitality, combining Indian heritage, global excellence, and sustainable growth. Many would say that if Indian hospitality today is flying higher than ever, IHCL has become one of the power engines that has led to its ascent. And I'll speak about the ascent in terms of engines of growth in a bit. But for now, let me welcome Puneet Chhatwal. Welcome to the show, Puneet. Megha, the first one goes to you.
Yeah, the first one goes to me, and of course, the turnaround story.
But the segment we begin with is, of course, called...
That has been, historic. 2017 to 2026, how did you go about taking this challenging task at hand and delivering time after time after time?
Well, thank you, Megha and Bhuvanesh. I think it's three simple words I would say that describe our journey. The number one is belief. That belief came with the product we had, almost 120 years of, or 115 at that time, of legacy, as the word used by Bhuvanesh. So there was an inherent belief that this is what your roadmap should be. And in order to do that, the second word that describes is a strategy, which includes all the metrics you put in and includes the talent and the people who are going to deliver on that promise. And finally, I would say relentless execution. So we say we promise, we deliver. Ideally, we deliver a bit more than we promise, and we deliver it in a little less time than we have guided for. That worked very well for us, I would say, except for 6-7 quarters of COVID, where the sector was shut down. And thanks goes to all our forefathers who created that wonderful platform, starting with Jamshedji Tata, who built in 1903 the Taj Mahal Palace and Tower, opened in Colaba, consistently acclaimed as one of the best hotels in the world. And then in the 70s and early 80s, when we got all the palaces, the Rambagh, the Lake Palace, Udaipur, later followed by Jodhpur and Falaknuma, and we have it all. And then the question is, how do you capitalize on it? And how do you align it with a changing India? India was not only about just, foreign tourist arrivals coming in at a luxury end of the market, or just the luxury traveler. As India has become an emerging a strong player on the global stage, we need all customer touch points. And that's how we went on reimagining our brandscape, launching new brands, acquiring some existing ones to get today to an active portfolio of 12 brands, although we are still very happily known for the Taj, and we would like to be known for the Taj. And to just end this on a very small anecdote, I would say, we were always known for the rose petal rain in the palaces, where the petals of roses would fall when the customers would come in. So we have, I think, found the right balance from roses to ROCE, which is return on capital employed. So as a sector, we have taken charge, and I think very well understood by the rest of the sector in India, and this is a sector to watch for Viksit Bharat 2047.
Couldn't have been better put.
You know, Puneet, that transformation could not have happened by chance. It was clearly powered by a set of underlying strategic engines. Engines is very important for me when I chat with you. Let's talk about the Rolls-Royce engine analogy. You know, you've been powering the industry's flight path. Some observers compare IHCL today to the Rolls-Royce Trent engines that power long-haul aircraft like the Airbus 380, 350, efficient, powerful, and defining the performance of the entire ecosystem. My question to you is, what are the underlying engines of IHCL's growth today? Is it the brand architecture, the asset-light strategy, the capital discipline, or the cultural transformation within the organization? You're the best person in place because you're the architect of what's happening.
Actually, you answered it yourself, so I think it's all of the above that you mentioned. But I think foundation of any service business is your brandscape. So our transition from a branded house, where everything was Taj or by Taj or a bit of Taj, to a house of brands, making every brand an important business in itself, was the starting point. The second is obviously the right capital structure. From a very highly leveraged company with a lot of debt, we went into almost net debt-free company today with very large cash reserves, which are larger than the highest amount of debt that we ever had. The third is obviously the service excellence. We have tried to put our operational excellence that we had with the Taj into other brands for those relevant customer points. The fourth, which is also very critical, is your core values. So the first three cannot be delivered if your core values are compromised. And our core values, very simply, are the same as for Taj, for all other brands, where we say Taj is defined as the trust, the T for the trust in all our stakeholders, A for the awareness of the communities we live in, work in, operate in, and joy is the J in doing whatever we do. So I think these are the core values. We can change business strategies, we can change plans, we can change capital structure, we can change capital light, asset light, capital heavy, owning asset, not owning asset, every second year. But what you can't change is your value system. So if your value system is strong, it helps you navigate through all the strategy. And then comes the last most important pillar, which is we are a people-intensive business. So whether it is our customers or it is the people serving our customers. And I think the old saying still works very well. You take care of your people, they'll take care of your customers, the customers will take care of your top line and the bottom line, and they'll keep coming back and you'll keep growing.
Absolutely, and I do remember, you know, the tragic incident that happened, the unfortunate 26/11 attacks, and there were a number of those anecdotes where the service staff would not leave the hotel because, you know, in the very essence of Taj, the principles that they followed, it was to serve the customer, to save them, to protect them. And that's the essence, that's the core value that you talk about Taj. How does IHCL build that when you hire these employees?
I think there is a series of programs people go through. So first is walking the talk. I think the people who are in the system have to exude those values. If they are not exuding, you can teach anything in theory, then in practice it will not work. Then we have a program which is called Taj Swagat, then we have a Tajness training, then we have those Tajness attributes of leadership, then we have the code of conduct. Our staff magazine is called Tajness. Very much this month, on the 24th of March, I don't know how many people will remember in the audience, 24th March, 4 years ago was the year of, 6 years ago, was the year of lockdown.
True.
When the sector was locked down, 22nd of March was the Janta curfew. So we took cue from that, the way the hospitality sector demonstrated resilience, served the frontline workers, hosted them in hotels when they were not welcome in their homes. We called it the Tajness Day, and so every 24th March we celebrate that across the world, not just in India. We celebrate it across the world. We combine it with some form of ESG plus initiative, and let this year also be a surprise because you'll read about it in the next few days about what we are going to do. I don't want to give that story away. So every year we do that. We celebrate the families, we celebrate the people, the staff from morning till night in our properties, from starting with breakfast to lunch to high tea to dinner, cultural programs, etc. So I think it's those values, the way you live them, the way you exude them in your 365 days and 24/7, because we never shut down. Right? Like any other sector, our machinery keeps working for every hour of the day, every festival of the world, and Christmas, New Year, we are always on. So I think that is the relentless demonstration of customer centricity, people centricity that helps you get through.
Absolutely, that's so good for an industry which is a 24/7 industry. But tell me, Taj clearly, under your charge, IHCL seems to have thought through as an engine of growth the capital and ownership of this industry. So let's talk about the asset-light pivot, re-engineering capital and growth. One of the boldest structural shifts has been the move from asset-light portfolio to a predominantly, from an asset-heavy portfolio to an asset-light portfolio, which has helped unlock great value. My question is, how difficult was it to change the mindset of historically asset-heavy hospitality company, and what lessons would you share about balancing ownership, management contracts, and partnerships in a market like India?
Well, Bhuvanesh, very interestingly, we did communicate on Capital Light that we'll have a balanced portfolio. We have not ever walked away from owning assets. So we still own a significant number of our assets. When we turn the clock back to 17-18, we were at maybe 70% asset heavy or capital heavy and 30% capital light. Today is the other way around, is 30% capital heavy, 70% capital light. But very important, our portfolio has grown 4x. From 150 hotels portfolio, we've gone to 600 plus. So the amount of heavy has also grown. However, under the premise which I would call own selectively, partner widely, and manage globally. So I think we took that as a mantra. We had mature brands. There was a time to leverage the brands, to go into a service-driven business, so you get the best of the operating leverage from the owned and still have margin expansion through the capital light model, and that makes you more resilient for the next downturn if and when it would come. So I think the relentless execution, which I said at the outset, was the key, and it would not have happened if we did not have the proper brandscape, and doing growth by brand, by geography, by contract type is an art and science, which I think we have practiced pretty well and have become a benchmark which others are following also now, definitely in the Indian subcontinent.
So Puneet, along with the financial transformation, what really stands out is the way you've done the transformation of your brand universe, if I was to say. Let's call it the reimagining of the brandscape. IHCL today arguably has one of the most strategically layered brand architectures in hospitality, spanning Taj, Selections, Vivanta, Ginger, and newer collections. My question to you is, when you look at the IHCL brandscape today, what role does brand play in your long-term strategy, and how carefully do you guard against brand dilution while expanding scale?
If you have clear segmentation, then the brand dilution does not happen. As an example, we did launch Ginger, but it was never done for a variety of reasons. In a way, it should have been done because the world changed post 9/11. Then India went through the 26/11 crisis. Also, we had the global financial crisis, and we had gone international, so we were, not doing that well on the international assets. But holistically, looking at Ginger, I never used to say it before, but today we can very proudly say at the end of this year or the coming financial year, will be 250 Ginger hotels in India. Now, this positioning, scale matters. When you do a luxury hotel, like one Taj, it's not that important to have scale, but it's very important to have that luxury quotient in it, that feeling of being special and unique. But Ginger has a potential to be 1,000 hotels in the next 10, 20 years. Every district capital in India could have a Ginger. We could have 20 Gingers in the city of Delhi NCR. So that's one. Second is getting dominance in certain markets. So as we are in Delhi, as we are in Bharat Mandapam, if I try to circle the heart of Delhi from the Ambassador to the Connaught to the Taj Mahal, which is popularly known as Taj Mansingh, to the Ginger in Chanakyapuri, which was the Daman Bhavan initially, to the Taj Palace, and on the outskirts of Vivanta and Dwarka, we have a very strong dominance, especially in Lutyens Delhi. And not to forget, we added exactly 1 year ago, this month, last year, the Claridges. So if you look at the heart of Delhi, IHCL is the dominant player with all kinds of brands. As Connaught and Ambassador would feature into our collection, which is called IHCL Selections. The two Taj properties, one known for conventions and conferences and big weddings, the other one possibly the best boutique luxury offering in India today. This is Taj Mansingh. Together with Claridges, it just controls that part of the market with the biggest surprise element of having a Ginger in Chanakyapur.
True.
So I think there is always, as I said, the art and science of growth, how you grow by brand, by geographic dominance in key metros and in key markets. I mean, not many people would know, if I add homestays to our thing, we have a brand called Ama. In Goa, today we operate almost 50 plus properties. So the first luxury hotel of Goa was the Fort Aguada, which came up 51 years ago. Yeah. And today we have almost 16 or 18 hotels under various brands in operation, plus another 30 plus homestay properties. So I think that is the key. It's a dominance in key markets of India. We have iconic assets to affordable, priced, upscale, mid-scale segments, including homestays, and all done with purpose, all done with responsible growth, all done, as I said before, the A of the Taj, which is awareness of the community, keeping the community at the core of anything that we do. You know, the very famous quote of Jamshedji Tata, that community is not just another stakeholder, rather the purpose of the existence of any business.
True.
So I think that works has worked over a century for us. I see no reason why it would not work for the next century for us.
Absolutely.
You know,
I'm out of
moment,
time. I would have wanted to speak to you for hours together, but what an insightful session. Puneet, thank you very much for joining us, speaking to us, and giving us this insightful, transformative story of IHCL. And of course, congratulations and all the best wishes for the next 20 years.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and best wishes for this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Puneet. Thank you, Megha.
Thank you all very much for joining us at NXT 2026. And let's now, in fact, turn our focus to the segment of Next in Healthcare Tech. Next in Healthcare Tech will be our next segment, and to speak about the theme of rehabilitation robotics, we have a keynote address by a very special guest who's with us in this grand hall at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi. We have the Director, Roll Laboratory, Columbia University, with us now in the room. And Professor Sunil K. Agarwal, I invite you for this keynote address. Let's welcome him with a round of applause, please.
First of all, thank you for this kind invitation. It is a pleasure to be here among such distinguished people from all around the world. I will share with you today about a sub-area of medical robotics called rehabilitation robotics, where the goal is to use robotics to improve human functions. All of us every day, let me just try it. Yes. So all of us everyday tasks, we do everyday tasks such as walking, standing, turning, and so on. These are simple tasks for all of us. However, think of someone who has had a recent stroke, or a spinal cord injury, or born with a cerebral palsy, or older adults. These simple motor tasks become a challenge for them. There are usually no pills that you can take to regain these functions. Motor practice is the prescribed medication, and it requires time and intense practice. The scientific framework behind motor practice is neural plasticity. The nervous system has the ability to change its activity in response to its intrinsic or extrinsic stimuli. Practice reorganizes the structure of the nervous system and its connections. Motor principles that are used in retraining of the nervous system include progression, repetition, and challenge. So our robotics and rehabilitation laboratory at Columbia University uses robotics to measure movement of the human body and apply appropriate forces on the segments to change the difficulty level and train the nervous system. I'll give you a number of examples today in my talk today. Our robots are like the training wheels on a bicycle when children are learning to bike. The children use these until they improve the skills, and then they throw these away. So this is how we see these rehabilitation robotics. So let's kind of go through some concrete examples. So in the United States, there are about 7 million survivors of stroke, right? And I'm sure that there is a similar ratio here in India as well. A clot